Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. It's almost, well, it looks like it's 1 o'clock. We are recording. And welcome to Mastery, Denny Mastery of Real Estate. If you would please do check your name as it appears. If it's not correct, go ahead and click on the little buttons. Pull up the participants, click on the little buttons, 3 dots by your name, and you can go there and change your name. So I've got several Jennifers and Sherrys, et cetera, et cetera. And let's see who's here. I know other people will be coming on. It is the mastery level role play. It's November 17th, 2023. And what I thought about working on today a little bit was a little seller mastery from a listing standpoint. And then at least for the first half of the class, and we'll go whatever direction you want from there. I'm sure you got some things you'd like to talk about. And we always use the format question-based, listing enhanced conversation. So I want you to get better at asking strategic questions and get better at listening. So here we go. I'm going to I'll come back to the some of the other QR codes. However, for the end of the day, I want to talk about something that came up on Recon. Recon is the role play every day, sponsored by Keller Williams. I'm one of the coaches on that. And there's the information. It's 8:30 to 9 Central Time for 30 minutes, Monday through Friday. I think if we get the go-ahead, although I'll be in Mexico next week, I plan on doing a recon from Mexico, even on Thanksgiving, because there's a lot of people that said, "Hey, I'm in Canada. We don't do Thanksgiving," or some people just may be so into role play they want to do it. So anyway, I was on that call today, and something came up that I would like to explore a little bit on the thought of the day. Typically, what we've been doing in most role play classes, we're dealing with sellers' objections. And one came up today that the seller wanted to interview. At some point in time, you have to give your presentation. And I know you can win most of the time. A lot of you, you know who I'm talking about, can win on your good looks and Southern charm. However, every now and then, you're going to have to lay out a value proposition. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm working on a listing right now. Yes, I am. I mean, he called me because I couldn't get my daughter involved. It was just a scheduling issue. And he's got a home that has an airport attached to it. And not an airport, but a runway. And so you can have your own plane, pull it up, and have your own hangar right in your home or next to your home. And so he's being the typical seller, wanting what I call incremental marketing. So, holy, James got his camera on. Good job. So let's talk a little bit about how you win your listings. And if you want to talk about it, I want to talk about specifically, I'll use this a little tongue in cheek. And I don't make light of drug problems, but I do say that there is a drug problem out there with sellers, and it's called marketing. That's their drug, and they're addicted to it. And they're looking for an agent that basically is going to be their dealer for a while until we're broke. So who would like to talk about the listing process a little bit and interact with me on your thoughts? And I might be a seller. I want to hear how you handle certain things, and let's maybe drill down a little bit. So James, you've got your camera on. I don't see your hand up. However, anytime you have your camera on, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Okay. Your camera's not on, right?
Yeah, Daddy, we're not seeing you at all.
Yeah.
We're not seeing your screen or anything right at the moment.
All right, hang on. Why?
Okay.
It was like that in Recon this morning too.
The whole time?
You froze that. No, you were in and out, but you froze the majority of the call.
Well, that is crazy. Well, thank you for telling me. It's kind of like we're done with dinner right now. Yeah, I got spinach in my teeth. You never told me. So
well, right now we can only see Sandra, Isom, and myself. So that's only 3 I see. So and yours.
So do you have a little slide thing on your computer? Where it can slide over the camera. Maybe you pushed that over accidentally. Do you know where that's at? Look at the top of your computer.
So, no, I mean, I don't, this is crazy.
Do you use the set? Do you use a separate camera or is it built into your computer?
Oh, I've got a separate camera. Let's do this here.
Okay.
Or we just let Sandra run the whole meeting.
Yeah, you guys talk a little bit.
Now we see your
Well, that's got your
mugshot.
picture. That's good.
Please launch Sparko Cam to activate this webcam.
There
There
you
you
are.
are.
In
Come
living
on,
color.
Pops. You did it. Look at you.
I think it was you anyway. So, all right.
Sure.
All right, so let's have this conversation, you guys, about the marketing. So, Sandra, I know you have your established agent, and let me just go back and forth. You guys are the two agents I'm interviewing, and so you can hear each other. It's okay. Just do your normal thing, and I'm going to be the seller, and I want you guys to take some notes because what you say you're going to do is, particularly if it's a marketing issue, and again, I know we got kind of interrupted. Sellers love marketing. You can't give them too much of it because it's free to them. So I'm interviewing James first. I figured I'd save the best for last. And James, so I'm gonna be interviewing another agent, and here's what's important to me. And obviously, I know you're going to walk around the house and do some things. I want to focus the conversation on the M word, marketing. So I want we'll talk about pricing a little bit. I want to know what you're going to do to get my home sold.
Okay, Danny, well, let me ask you this. What's most important to you about marketing your home? What do you want to see done that's most important to you?
Well, I sold a home.
Okay.
It was probably in 2001, last time I sold a home, and the agent did a great job. I mean, they had me in print, and they had me in back then they had kind of a cable TV thing, and that's not really on anymore, but I just saw my home everywhere, and I associate that with being the more exposure, it doesn't hurt. So that's going to be a big brick for me to know what you're going to do to market my home.
Absolutely, Denny, and I certainly appreciate that. And let me ask you this. Now, are you aware of all the different social media outlets that are available?
Well, I don't know about all of them, but I got Facebook and Instagram, and I'm not going to go. I don't want that TikTok. I'm not going on TikTok. I'm a patriot.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm not going to do any TikTok music videos for your home, but I will do everything else. So we're going to go ahead and reach, Facebook, we're going to reach Instagram. Now, in the current market, you understand that when we put it in MLS, that it reaches out to Zillow, it goes to Redfin, it reaches to Realtor.com. So the reach of listing your home with me goes much further than it used to, in 2001. So we also do print ads still, and we also do postcards to all of your surrounding neighbors in case they have any friends or family that might be interested in moving. So we have a very aggressive marketing campaign. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You see, you have print ads and postcards. So how many postcards do you send out?
We send out about 100 postcards to your surrounding neighbors.
Now, does that
home is just listed?
Right. Okay. Does that really move the needle?
Yes, it has. We've gotten a lot of calls on new homes that we've just listed from the mailings, as well as, from all the rest of the ads and marketing that we do. And
you mentioned print. So what do you do print wise?
We run the ad in the Scottsdale magazine. We put it in the Sunday newspaper with open houses. When we have those listed, we run those.
Okay. What if I've got as you saw, I took you through the home, I've got a bigger garage, and because at one time we had a motorhome, and the motorhome, I have a motorhome garage. It's got the power hookup, the wash bay, everything. It's kind of a cool thing. So I think maybe somebody that wants my house might have a motorhome. So would you consider advertising in some motorhome type magazines? Of course, in Scottsdale, there's a lot of people that use motorhomes. So
absolutely,
there's some trade publications I think would be really good. Would you consider that?
We would absolutely consider that, Danny. If it's important to you, it's important to us to get your home sold. So if you would want us to do an ad like that, if you think it would reach more people, I'd be happy to explore that with you.
Okay, and what about some of those other magazines? They really, you know, we're gonna be in the luxury price range, so we're gonna be over $1 million, maybe like, you know, we'll get down to that brass tacks later, but you said somewhere between maybe, you know, 125, 15. And
Okay.
so we can go into some of those really nice upper end, what's that new word people are using, bougie magazines.
Well, let me ask you this, Denny. When you're looking for your next home, which I assume are you moving to a new home at this point once you sell this one?
When you say new home, do you mean a brand new home
Just a
or?
new home to you. In other words, you're going to find a new home that you want to live in.
Yeah, we're gonna move. Yeah, we're gonna move to
Okay, Boise. And have you started looking for homes in Boise already?
not a whole lot, no.
But where are you looking currently, Denny?
Where am I looking? We haven't started.
Yes. You haven't started looking at all. You're just going to go to Boise.
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I think you'll find that most people today, before they go to an area, like to search online because most of the homes you'll find are listed online. A lot of people do print, but I think you're finding that you're reaching a much smaller market with print than you do with online these days.
So let me ask you, James, you've been hanging out now for you. I'm gonna give you like stripes because you've been on so many of my calls. I'm gonna give you like sergeant stripes. Do you think that maybe some of that might be better with a little bit more question based?
Well, I was trying to get to more questions with you, but you were kind of saying, will I run an ad? It was kind of a yes or no question. I didn't really know how you wanted me to dig deeper into like, well, what's important to you about putting in an RV magazine? I know what it is because you just said you have an RV garage. So that's important to you because of that.
Well, you're playing it down the middle. This is how you have a conversation with a seller that's gonna list a house or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, I present my value proposition of what I bring to the table for marketing and getting the home sold.
Right. And so what you did is your program.
Correct.
And the things I ask you would be the way you would answer if you were meeting with somebody in a similar situation.
Yes.
All right, no judgment. Now you've heard of speed dating. This is
Yes.
speed listing agent interviewing. All right, thanks so much. Get out of my house.
Okay.
Sandra, come on in. Thanks for coming over. You've got 4 minutes to give your listing presentation. So here's what's important to me. Sold a house back in 2000, 2001. Agent was awesome. I wish I could find that agent again. And they had the greatest marketing program there was. They had ads everywhere and it was on the TV, cable network, blah, blah, blah. So marketing won't be the only thing. We'll get into price in a minute. Marketing is going to be a big ticket thing for me. Tell me about how you're going to market my home.
So, Denny, first of all, thank you for having me in your home. Our marketing program is pretty robust. Number one, just being with Keller Williams, you're going to be featured in 350 websites. So that's a ton of exposure online because you know that most people are looking online before they ever pick up the phone and call a realtor. So does that sound like would be something you would be interested in us doing for you?
Well, I think from the last interview, they said kind of all the agents are kind of the same, meaning that once you go on MLS, it somehow gets populated and all these worldwide things. So that sounds good. But 350, and there's probably 350 million. I don't know. I think everyone's got that. So what else do you do? I'm not totally impressed yet, although you were on time, so I appreciate that.
Good, thank you, appreciate that. So the other thing that we do, we also have a support system behind us as well that they are posting on all of our social media outlets. We do get a good amount of business from our social media as well. We're going on Facebook, Instagram. I think I heard you mention in a previous conversation that you didn't want to be on TikTok. Although it would be a good opportunity for us to get you out on TikTok because of the broad width that they have of exposure on your home. The other thing is that we too can run print ads for you, featuring your home in the luxury editions. Since you do have an RV, we definitely would want to reach out and I forgot what I was going to say. We wanted to reach out and present your home in that community as well too. And there's got to be an RV community on Facebook, on social medias as well too, that we would be able to present your home. there as well. The other thing that we haven't touched on is an open house for your home. When we do open houses, we do circle prospecting. I don't know, have you ever heard of circle prospecting before?
So nice job on that. I'm glad you like defined it because most people wouldn't know what that was. So yeah, so at the same time, yeah, I know what it is.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to circle prospect 100 of your neighbors and invite them to the open house. Then we're also going to send.
That's a good question. The other guy sent out 100 postcards. So you're going to send out some postcards for me?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I'm sorry. That's just a given. We give a just listed automatically. So as soon as we've got you in MLS, the postcard goes out to 100 of your closest and dearest neighbors.
All right. And you only got one more minute of your listing presentation. So what about print? I love print. I love glossy things. I love to see my house in print.
What is it about print material that you are looking for?
Whenever I go to Whole Foods or I go to Safeway, they always have those magazines there. And I'm always seeing people picking them up, looking at them. And
I understand that. So let me ask you this. Would you buy a home from print magazine?
sure, why not? I mean, that's why they do it, right?
It is, and it's not. Just to be very frank, permission to speak frankly.
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of agents will do print material to make the seller feel better. Does that necessarily sell your home? No, it doesn't. But if you understand the market that we're reaching out right now, everybody is going to the internet. So that's where we want to have your biggest exposure. Now, if it's important to you to be in that pretty glossy magazine, we will do that all day long for you. But I just want you to understand and make sure that we're both on the same page, that not necessarily being in print is going to be what's going to sell your home.
Okay, so Danny's putting his hat on right now. Good. Now you've seen 2 listing presentations and no judgments. Let's just talk about them a little bit, and let's talk about the thought of incremental marketing. Number one, I'll just give you the same feedback. There seemed to be a lot of tell there when all that could have been
I know.
question, which is okay. I understand. However, and again, you don't have to do it my way. This is just what I'd like you to work your way into. Both of you guys, when you got into your listing presentation versus the role play we typically do, you kind of reverted back probably to what you're comfortable with, which is this is my stick and I'm going to lay it out there. Okay, so if you want to work on improving that with questions, we can talk about that, etc. Does anybody who's watching right now have any comments about, and again, no judgment, these guys are both successful agents. Any comments about what you heard, and maybe you got some ideas, because I'm gonna share something with you, and then I want you to comment on that. So I'll just shut up for a moment. Anybody want to say anything, ask anything, etc. to our two listing agents?
So when it comes to Sandra's presentation, I thought it was a good balance of telling and asking questions. I think, Sandra, and you can tell me how you feel about this, it may have been helpful as soon as he asked that question about what is your marketing entail, to ask him a question just so you can hone down and be a little bit more specific. What do you think?
You asking me?
You or
No, he's
Sandra?
asking me. He's asking me.
Okay.
No, I think you're right. I think I am definitely more of a teller, and Denny's told me this before, and it's a process of rewiring my brain to be more question based. But he was asking a lot of just, kind of, what do you do? And it's hard. I don't know.
Mhm.
James, I don't know. I think you may have done better about, asking him more questions. But, when somebody asks you, well, what do you do? You're going to tell them what you do.
Well, all right. So let's just have the conversation now. Again, going back to the thought of the day, incremental marketing. The question I want to ask you guys and open this up for discussion. Does incremental marketing work? When I say incremental, I'm talking about, okay, so and this is a blessing, you guys, the internet is such a blessing to us because we can put it in MLS. We don't have to take out classified ads now if we want an open house. We have the socials, etc. So once it goes into MLS, it typically gets auto-populated. So I know that Proxio or whatever international website we have, that we're part of luxury, and I don't know everyone's, company out there. However, let me ask you just a couple of questions on if we hit 350 websites, is that better than 30 websites?
It should be.
I
If 30
think it
websites
is.
have value, then 10 times that should have 10 times more value if they're all equal.
Then would 400 be better?
Yes.
400 would be even better.
Sure.
More eyes on everything is better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to lay this out and let you chew on it. I'm just going to take the position I don't think it is.
Okay.
And I'll tell you
Why?
what. I'll tell you what. When you look at statistics, that if you have a decent sample size, and I'm not going to get geeky on you, however, you'll follow this. The problem, if you're on MLS, and MLS basically through all the different things, 300 websites, 3,000 websites, it doesn't matter. You are seeing a significant portion of the buyer population, true?
Mhm.
Yes.
Now, not 100% of the buyer population. You're seeing a significant portion of it. And basically the loss, you've seen the bell-shaped curve, and I'm just talking statistically, that you're going to be within the majority of that slice of the pie will be representative of any other slice of the pie. So if you have 300 websites versus 600 websites, the probability there's an equal distribution of buyers in the 300 versus the 600. Now, I know we're going to have the outcomes in the showings. So the concept I'm hatching on you guys is this. All those things you said you would do, I'd be happy to do it. And you were basically throwing your money away just because I asked you to. Won't move the needle. Now, if you want to do it to earn the listing, that's a business decision you have to make. The 100 postcards does not move the needle. It's you're doing it for showtime, or you're doing it for branding to get your name out there to potentially get a buyer. Yes, you could, or you could get a new seller. What I want you to start to ask is, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I don't think it helps move the needle from a marketing standpoint. If you want to spend $10,000 over and above what's in MLS, or you spend $100,000, you're still going, I don't think it moves the needle as far as you selling a home. If you're doing it for branding and you're getting your name out there and it's bringing you business, that's then more power to you. This goes to the thought of the day that marketing does not sell houses, and everything we do, and all of those things you may want to do for the seller, because you're going to get the listing. However, I want you to know it has very little to do with selling a house, and everything to do with branding your name. So all that stuff you're doing, and you want to do it, I'm not saying not to do it, because it won't make you sell your house faster. However, it will get your name out there and may get you more business. So I'm going to step off my pulpit just for a second and have you kind of like tell me what you're hearing, what you think.
Oh, I think that's exactly right.
I hear what you're saying, but the flip side to that is sellers. What's the word I'm looking for? They're expecting that because that's what they see all the time. So I find that would be very hard to go into a listing presentation if I'm up against another agent and they're forking out all this, we're going to do this, 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 and this. Then in order to be competitive with them, you've got to match or be better than what they're doing, you know?
All right. So
could you get the seller to kind of sway over to the way you're thinking? Maybe, if you're not up against another agent.
And Denny, you were very stuck in the 1950s trying to say that you don't look online for Boise, Idaho you're going to move to. You never looked at a home online, really? I'm like, come on, man. Let's play a little reality here, okay? Unless you're 90 years old, I think you're on the internet.
And you're in Whole Foods picking up the magazine.
Yeah,
You are not.
exactly. You're taking all
No,
those
you're not.
dusty magazines home with you, really?
Come on now, this is my role play. You get your own show.
I
okay?
bet-
Unless you
I bet you're
need
right. I bet
firewood
you-
at home, you're not taking those magazines.
I bet you're writing down those realtors' names that are on that shopping cart, and you're like, I'm going to use them.
I used to be on
Okay.
this. I used to be on the shopping cart. I've had
Of
more,
course you did.
I used to have more dirty diapers sitting on my face. Well, that's the kind of weird thing. Sitting on. Okay, so let's talk about this. All right, so we'll move on. Get ready to have your conversations. This is the point I want you to know. So, for example, then James, come at me, and let me just try this on for size, because Sandra's right. We have to find a value proposition. So, if you're going to go and you're going to have plastic surgery or any surgery whatsoever, what's the number one thing you're looking for? Results.
Right.
Now, if that doctor is going to promise all these other little things, the bottom line is results. So the question is, do you think by being straight up honest and not throwing our money away, can we sell our value without throwing money away? Now, I'm not saying that stuff you're doing for the seller, you're throwing it away, because if it brings you business, it's a business expense.
Right.
Then I have no problem with that, you guys. However, I guess I'm about ready to start writing my book on the physics of real estate. And the thing that I'm attempting to see if I can help you with is you've got to be solid in the belief that physics causes the water to freeze, physics causes the home to sell. You've got to have the right environment. And
Right.
short of that, it won't sell. And all the extra marketing won't. Now, I have a listing presentation coming up with a guy that doesn't have a motorhome. He has an airplane. He wants me to advertise in this shopping magazine, Barnstormers, or whatever. Now,
Are you going to do it?
well, I'm considering how I'm going to handle it. And if it's $100, you think it's a hill I'm going to die on? I could die on a principle, but here's the other thing is that I don't want you guys to be dictated by sellers and all the things that they think they should do. And James, I did it on purpose. I told you I wasn't going online because I knew exactly where you were going with that conversation. So I'm just going to, so James, I'm going to ask me about my marketing.
Okay, and Denny, let me ask you, what are you going to do to market my home to get this sold?
I'm going to put it in front of the majority of buyers that would be interested in your home.
And what does that entail, Denny?
Well, right now, the buyers are shopping on the internet. And again, I could ask you the question, are you looking for a home? I'm just trying to get to the bottom line of the role play really fast. I'm going to make sure that basically anyone that's shopping for Southwest Florida, where I am, is going to be able to come across your home. And that'll be on the internet.
So only the internet is what you're telling me.
I'm sorry?
So only the internet? Is that the
Well,
only place you're going to put it?
Internet also includes the socials on the internet, yes.
Okay, so you're not going to do any other marketing materials besides that?
Well, what other marketing materials would you consider?
Well, gee, there should be flyers and handouts. And the last agent came in and said he was doing postcards and he was going to put ads in the RV magazine and Hangar Daily for the airplane. And I was like, it doesn't sound like you're doing very much.
Well, let me ask you, what's more important to you? Somebody who's going to do a lot of that stuff with the results in the end?
Well, I want the results in the end, but I want them to reach the biggest market to get the best buyers.
So, all right, I'm just going to ask you another question.
Sure.
If I can show you, I don't need to know right now. However, if I can share with you that my results are better with my sellers than agent A and B, does it matter how I market your home?
No, but how are you going to do that? Because I haven't had a chance to let A and B market my home.
Well, I'm just saying if results, I mean, let's just assume
Okay.
people are going to have plastic surgery. They're going to show you a book of people that had plastic surgery. I mean, I'm not going to the dude that did Kenny Rogers. Come on, you guys, listen up.
Rest in peace. Let him rest in peace.
I'll use somebody else. I mean,
Did he die?
look at landscape.
Yes.
Something benign. If I can show you my results, here's the thing. If I can show you that my results are better than the other agents, does it matter how much marketing I do? All right, so you guys, am I stumping you or what? I mean, I'm just wondering, will this approach work?
Well, I don't think you're stumping me. I think you're really talking apples and oranges. Between price and marketing are two totally different things. We all know that price is going to sell the house. You're locked in on marketing. Okay, that's a whole different animal. And like you talked about, I'm going to do a lot of this marketing because it's going to brand me into the neighborhood and into the other people that I'm trying to reach. The same thing with ledgers, the same thing with, any other advertising I do. So we're kind of on two different planes here as far as, I think how you approach this. I think you have to we're all going to do the same marketing to a degree, with the MLS and online. So there's not that big, you can't really show me, other than you've had more home sales, that your marketing is better than anyone else.
Well, I'm not using the word marketing. You are. I'm saying
promoting or
if my results,
advertising.
I'm talking in a listing appointment. If I can demonstrate to the seller that my results outperform the other agents, that could be number of transactions, could be sales price to list price ratio, it could be days on the market, it could be a lot of different things.
So you're going to show me a matrix of your marketing. You've had better success in the market.
Yes, but I'm not.
That's what you're going to show me.
I'm not calling it marketing.
Right.
So I guess here's my. I'm 1 minute overdue. We're going to get down to the rest of it. Here's my point. And when a seller asks me, what do you do to get my home sold? And I'm selling 300 or 400 homes a year.
Right.
Does it really matter?
Right.
It's a fair question. They have a right to an answer, but by golly, we're doing a lot of business. So whatever I'm doing is working. And,
right.
and the other issue is that would you really respect your doctor if you came in there or your whatever and you told them how to do their job? And I'm not saying don't do it. I just want you to do it because you're doing it for the right reasons, and don't feel like you have to have your marketing pile of stuff, all these magazines, postcards, is higher than the next. It weighs more than the next. If you're gonna do it, but do it for branding. But don't do it if the branding is not working, don't waste the money. I think we can go in there and get the listing based on our results and not have to promise them everything they want.
I think success sells. So you're exactly right. So if you're a successful agent, you're selling, then you've got that as your lead to go in with.
Yeah. So we'll go into something else. I don't think Tony Robbins has to basically, I'm not paying all that money. What are you going to do? What are you going to do that's different than Zig Ziglar? I mean, he's already got a following. So, I mean, it's already credible. So anyway, enough of that. You can email me at coachdannygrimes@gmail.com if you have any questions on that, or if you're not clear on it. I just, I'm kind of the purist when it comes to the sale of a home, and there's that. So let's go on to something else. I was on the
I'd like to know how your listing appointment goes with your RV guy.
Yeah, you mean the airplane guy?
Airplane, yeah.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'm going to look it up, and so part of me, if it's a few $100s, it's not a big deal. But part of me doesn't like to be told what to do.
I understand.
I can take tonsils out. I don't need the parents telling me how to take tonsils out.
Okay.
All right. Anybody want to cover any kind of situation you're dealing with right now? This is Friday. Whatever you want to do, you can do outbound calls. You can do objections at the table. We did a great role play. We're having a lot of buyers, again, haven't seen this in a while. They're under contract, as is contract, and they're coming back, hammering sellers on inspection issues, and it's an as is contract. And so agents, my daughter has told me, I've got it from other agents in my bold room, you're working hard to keep the transactions together. So we can role play and strategize around that if you like. Or not.
We just don't have a lot of buyers. We've got selling listings, which I will say yesterday I did for the first time. Well, I used a sliding scale professional fee and was able to secure the listing just in talking to the guy. I gave him the 3 outcomes, and he was a wheeler dealer and just, I can sell my house to a wholesaler. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? They're going to pay you, pennies on the dollar. So it was through a lot of conversing, and he's done some really stupid things to the house, but it looks like it's going to be a potential for a really good outcome because he's got other things that he's flipping as well too. But I've never done the sliding professional fee, and rarely do I have to pull out the 3 outcomes, but I did. I probably didn't do it the way you wanted it done, but I still did it and they understood it.
Yeah, well,
And I got
good.
the listing.
I'm glad. I'd encourage you to work on that 3 outcomes. I think every listener should have that.
I'm
And
on board.
it gives you a follow-up system. So
Yeah.
Isa, we had a call
Yeah.
not long ago. Have you been practicing? And I know you're rewording. You're an ISA. So have you been rewording your outbound call conversation, and you have any progress with it?
Yeah, we can run through it right now, and you can give me your feedback.
All right. So Melody, you're sitting over there, nice, and you can actually answer the phone. You get your camera on. Thanks so much for that. You ready? You're muted though.
There we go.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Melody. My name is Isam Chappelle, and thank you for taking my call. I saw that your property on 123 Main Street came off the market. I was just curious, if you were to get the right offer and everything made sense, would you still consider selling?
Possibly.
Okay. Now, I saw their property online. It looks like a great property. What made you want to sell?
Well, it's a rental property right now, and we're thinking of cashing out.
Okay. And ideally, did you have a time frame where you would cash out on this rental property?
No, we kind of felt like we've missed the market in selling the house. And so we should probably hang on to it for a little bit until the market turns back around.
Interesting. When you say you missed the market, what exactly did you mean?
Well, the last year or so, the houses were going for over an asking price. And at that time, our home was rented.
Okay. So you feel like you wouldn't be able to get the asking price that you wanted for this property? Is that it?
Right.
Got
We feel
it.
like we're
Okay.
missing out on money that we would have had.
Right. I totally understand. Now, since you missed out on this opportunity, what happens to your plans now?
Well, we're going to keep the house. We're going to rent the house.
Okay. Going to rent it. Okay. Now, I'm just curious. It sounds like your preference is to cash out on this property. It's just that you don't think that you can get the right offer to maximize this home's value. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. So you tell me, my team sells property left and right, even in this current market. If we can show you a strategy so that you can get asking price or perhaps even over asking price and move on from this property and cash out, would it be of value for you and my top agent to meet at some point this week?
I'd be willing to sit down and listen.
Awesome. Yeah, that's all we're asking for.
That's okay, Isam. That's about 3
Okay.
minutes. Now, again, understand, let's give him some feedback because he makes calls all day long. He's an ISA. Notice he sets appointments for other folks. Because he won a coaching call, so I was able to talk to him a little bit. I know a little bit of how he rolls, and his team has standards, for example, where if we could have, he had the opportunity to set the appointment much sooner. However, his team wants him to go a little bit further along in the process to make sure they're setting good, sticky appointments, ones that actually stick. So what did you guys hear that you thought was interesting? Any kind of sandpaper? Because he's a learner. Share your thoughts with him. I made notes, but you guys have been listening. Anybody else have any notes you can
I
share?
would say, do they usually dig more into the motivation of why she's selling in the first place? Why are they getting rid of this property? I didn't hear much.
You felt like I could have done a better job of digging into that
Not a
motivation?
better job, just a little different, another
Okay.
add-on to find out, getting deeper into what is her motivation, what's driving her to do this, so that then when you pass it off, why she's deciding to sell this property, deciding to move. So I thought what you did was very smooth and very well presented. Just trying to get more toward, we've been talking about a lot about getting deeper to motivation. Because that's
Yes.
really the driving force that makes people move, right? Is their motivation, not all these other factors of, she's gonna go rent, she's gonna go do this. It's like, okay, that's good.
Mhm.
Why are you selling?
Got it.
That's what I would
So-
suggest, that's all.
James, at what point in the conversation would you have dove more into motivation?
Well, I think once you find out that, she's ready to sell the property, she's gonna go rent something else. I think I would ask, well, so why are you selling this to go become a renter? I mean, what's
Mhm.
motivating you to sell it at this time? I know she understands the market's not fantastic right now. She's trying to maximize her return. But again, if there's less inventory on the market, she might get a better price for the home now as opposed to later on. Let's say if interest rates, well, no, then she'll probably get more, but
Let me ask
she
you
has
this. Hang on a minute. So let's just role play that with Melody. Because I got a little bit lost there because I thought you said you were renting it. It was investment property, right?
That's exactly what I was saying.
Okay, and
so it's a
so,
rental property that she's
Yes.
selling. Okay.
and, no, here's the fine line. Yes, you can. Here's the fine line. I am one, if I'm gonna go on an appointment, and I know Sandra covers a Houston area, which is, 4 hours to get from one end to the other. So if I'm not going 4 hours for an appointment, I am gonna close on the appointment and handle a lot of that stuff at the table. And so there's no right or wrong, James, on that. You can go deeper if you want to. Here's a couple things I'm just gonna say for you, Isom.
Okay.
You use the word property a lot. Now, I know I know that we're not supposed to be using home to a seller because that's supposed to be some sort of emotional attachment. But property sounds sterile to me. Does anybody else think that's a little bit harsh or sterile?
Yeah, a lot of times I use house for what you're selling and home for what you're trying to buy.
I like that.
Also, I guess that you kind of, one more comment. Nyson, she was concerned about getting asking price.
Mhm.
So I know that's what you said, Melody, right?
Yep.
Well, every seller can get asking price, can they not?
True, if you offer it really low.
Well, let's rephrase that. You don't have to offer it really low to get asking price. You just have to be competitive.
Or price it at the market.
There you go. Now again, that's another theory. We don't know where the market really exists until we expose it. So I just didn't like the property all the time. And some of the other things too, when you kind of asked a leading question, it worked out well in this role play. There's places there you could have just asked the question and let her answer.
Okay.
So let's just assume now, let's take this. Who wants to take it? Now that Isom set the appointment, you will be the agent and you will meet with Melody and, well, let's say she owns it by herself, and have a conversation whether or not she should put it on the market now or rent it. Who would like to handle that? I don't want to call on someone because they have their camera on, because they just have their camera on probably by mistake. And it looks like it could be cold there.
Come on, you don't get better if you don't play. Step up.
Yeah, why don't you step up? Somebody step up. Let's be the listing agent. Who wants it?
I'll do it. I'll try. What are we doing?
You're meeting with Melody. Isom set the appointment. You're the agents going there. They have a home investment property. They feel like they missed the market. Now, Melody, you just play it and say, okay, how you would play it. Now we're into role play for the objection. Don't forget the model. Here we go.
Oh God, I gotta look at the model.
Use questions.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try my best, sir. So, okay, Melody, so my understanding is that you guys feel like you missed the market of selling your home last year. Is that correct?
Yes. I
I'm
think
so sorry.
last year, oops, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, I'm just gonna say I'm so sorry. What makes you think that you missed the market?
Well, I was watching the market and the homes last year were selling for $650. And right now I'm seeing that people are listing at 600 and they're sitting on the market for a while.
Okay. Was there a reason why y'all did not list your house last year?
It was rented.
It was.
Yeah.
Were you aware that you can sell a home with a tenant in there?
Yes, but I just felt like it'd be too much. So I wasn't quite sure how to handle that.
Okay, I understand. So right now, if I could show you what the market is bearing, and if I could show you what the market is bearing and it was favorable to you, would you be open to listing your home?
Well,
I jumped way too far. I know. Stop. Go repeat. Other than missing the market, is there any other reason why you wouldn't be wanting to list your property right now?
I know if I could get the 650 for it, I would probably sell it.
Do you have your house leased out right now, or is it vacant?
No, it's vacant right now.
It is vacant. Okay. Do you guys feel comfortable in carrying? Well, let me ask you this. Do you owe anything on your home right now?
Yeah, I have a mortgage on it.
You do. How long do you feel comfortable in carrying that note without it having any income coming in?
I could do maybe 5 months.
5 months. Okay.
You know, that's a tough one.
Who said it's a tough one? It's not tough.
Me, myself, I feel like it's tough.
No,
So
I want to call a pause just for a second. When she said she could carry it 5 or 6 months, I just want to know what your mind went to. I would have said, "Oh, that's great." Now, normally I'm pretty neutral, but you can use your acknowledgments to your favor. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's great. Perfect. Because how long does it take to sell a home, you guys?
30 to
30 to
60.
90 days.
30.
I would say you could. I would say almost any price range. I mean, you could sell it in a day if you price it $1, but realistically, it takes longer for the sellers to get into reality than it does to sell the home. So if the average time on the market is 100 days, well, probably the first 45 the sellers were in denial, or the agent was, or they both were. So when someone says they have 5 months, then I would have reacted positively. Wow, that's awesome. That means we have time to do this. So that would have been an opportunity to help sway some momentum your way. So Sandra, so you asked some good questions. You're on a good track. I know I've been talking for 30 seconds. You've got another minute. Where would you go?
I would say that's awesome. Are you trying to get a tenant in your home at this time?
All right, so let's get better questions. That's not a great question.
Sorry.
You have an objective. That was a secondary question. You're talking about a tenant. Get her on the highway.
Get her on the highway. Okay, Melody, you guys can carry the home for 5 to 6 months. What is it going to look like for you guys in 4 months if your home has not been rented out or is still sitting vacant? How is that going to make you feel?
It's going to make me want to find a renter.
So
Okay.
How about this question? So number one, what would you rather do? Melody, you want to sell it, or do you want to put it back and become a landlord again?
I would like to sell it for $650.
Okay.
But if I can't get that, I'm wondering if seems like it'd be beneficial to wait and put a renter back into it.
Okay. So then if I'm taking the renter out of it, Sandra. She'd rather sell it. So, well, let's focus on that because we will know in 30 days if the market's going to say yes to 650. Fair?
Fair enough.
All right. Now we have to take her. What is it about the 650? What if the market says no? And I'm going to future patient. What if the market says no to 650, Melody?
Well, if the market says no to 650, it's surely going to turn around and I'll get 650 later on.
And what are you going to do with the proceeds when you sell it?
We're hemming and hawing. We're not sure if we're going to go buy out of state or if we're just going to pay down our primary residence. So we haven't quite made a decision.
Okay. When a seller is turning into a buyer, it's a match made in heaven. So let's assume now, again, you're not really sure if you had to, we can talk about the advantages of both. However, let me ask you, how long have you owned the investment property?
I've owned it for 10 years.
And you remember what you paid for
Um,
it? 200.
200,
And have you seen it? Obviously, then it's gone up quite a bit, right?
correct.
Would you say that it's been a good investment?
Yes,
And it was an investment property, so your goal was to make money, correct?
it was. Yeah.
So even if the market's not gonna deliver 650, let's say it did deliver 575. You invested 200. In fact, in the last year, it's probably doubled. You probably made $150,000 in the last year and a half. So in other words, you're kind of playing with the house's money, right?
Now that you say it that way, yes.
And so now that you know your investment property, isn't worth what it was. Like if you had a friend that went into the casino and I have a friend who does really well in blackjack. It's really funny about that. But anyway, she's patient about it. But she has it, you watched her friend get all these chips. Now she's on a negative streak and she's losing hand after hand and her winnings are going down, yet but she's still a winner. What might you advise her to do?
Cash out.
But what if she wants to wait until she gets all those chips that she already lost?
Potential of losing it.
So would she be smart to walk out of the casino a winner?
Yeah, she would.
So can you see the parallel? Because let's assume you do that and you take your chips off the table. Now you have options. You can go buy a home. That's one of your options. And if you took a little bit less than you did a year ago on your house, can you buy that other house a little bit less?
Yes.
So you're not really losing anything, are you? So
No,
that's,
not really.
so you
I see
guys
what you're saying.
comment the way that I kind of like went down that.
Well, I like the analogy that you used with the casino chips because you can see that you could lose your money that way. It puts it in a different light than you're being attached with the property.
Good. Well, thank you. What other comments do you guys have? Good, bad, or indifferent?
So when you were going down the road of saying, we'll know in 30 days if the market will accept 650, in my mind, if I was Melody, I would have said, well, we were just on the market for 3 or 6 months and we already knew that we weren't supported at 650. So why would I go forward with a new listing?
Okay. Would you like to start lower then, Eisen?
No, I want to get 650 for it.
Okay. Well, then what I'm saying is, when you look at all the things that we do, and it may not have been all about price, and I won't know that until I start working on this for you. I'm just saying we'll know it in 30 days if 650 is realistic. However, it's going to be moot. If she buys into the continuation of the conversation, that doesn't matter anymore because I'm going to say, listen, you're already way ahead. Would you not be smart to take your chips off the table? And when you buy, you're going to buy less, or you can wait till this is worth 650 again and pay more for your next home. What would you rather do?
Okay, I get you now.
It's just the process I would take her through to, number one, forget the tenant. Forget it. We're not going to rent it because she doesn't want to rent it. Let's sell it. And then I got her to agree to that. Okay, 30 days, we'll give it a shot. And then the second part of it was to let her capitulate to the market value because it's still been a great investment.
Mm.
James, Sandra, anybody else, Christy, anybody else have any comment about that, the way I handled that?
No, I think that was exactly right, Danny. I think what
Yeah.
I said was I thought you were going to go to the 3 outcomes or to the meat thermometer because really to tell her, hey, is the market working for or against you? Just for her to say, how long would it take for the home to get back to 650? Are you willing to sit and hold that house for a year or two, and become a landlord again? I mean, is that really what you want to do, or do you want to cash out like you said?
Well, particularly when she said, we may want to buy another investment property. So that's why I said, you got to go to the other side of the coin. So you want to sell high, buy high, right? That makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Really good.
Sandra?
It was just good. It just, yet again, I just see how I need to be better at asking questions. And I did like the analogy of the poker chips.
Yeah, I learned that from a friend of mine. Anyway, so the most important thing about what I said there is this. You can tell any seller, listen, we'll know in 30 days. In fact, in some price ranges, you might know in less time than that. If the market, if you leave water in the freezer for 30 days and it's not ice, another 30 days isn't going to help it. So, 5 till. Anybody have anything to say? We're going to be in Mexico tomorrow. It's going to be the Griswold's family Thanksgiving in Mexico. And I intend to have role play next Friday from Mexico. And I'm intending to even do recon in the morning. I haven't told everybody on my family about that yet, but that's my intention. So anything else you need to say or ask before we go? I appreciate you letting me rant on for the first 30 minutes on the concept of incremental marketing.
That
Oh,
was
that's
great.
great. Where are you going to be in
That was
Mexico?
really good.
We're going to Cabo.
Cabo, nice. You'll be on East Coast time.
I don't think
No,
it's,
West Coast time. You'll be on
No,
California time.
West
There you
Coast
go.
time.
it's central, isn't it?
No,
No.
Cabo's out by the Pacific. You're Cali.
Well, Shazam.
And you just committed to recon Friday morning.
Yeah, yeah, all right. That's okay. I appreciate you guys. Have an awesome weekend. Love you, mean it, knuckle bump. Be careful out there.
Thanks, Denny.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It's happy out.